Okay, okay, we are live actually.
Okay, are we live? All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Are we?
intro. Why is the intro stopped?
Intro is playing. Is it playing? Is it stopped?
Are we live? Ngabona.
How Ben Kanye?
I see.
I will fine. We'll skip over the intro. Let's just go into the thing.
Okay, let's imagine that we are being introduced. Ding, 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 ding,
Audio
ding,
off,
ding,
ne?
ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding,
audio
ding,
off.
ding,
Guys,
ding.
we were live 22 minutes ago.
22 seconds ago.
No, it's 22
Alright.
minutes ago.
Ding, 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 ding.
I will.
Okay, I'm transitioning to the panel in 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm live.
Okay.
To you.
Welcome to For It's Beds, and my name is Nico, and we are back here today. And seems like everything, cross fingers, touch wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we are back with another episode of talking photography and all the little bits that make up photography. Before we start, we've got a guest here. She's little as well. Our new model slash makeup artist to be Noluthando. Do you want to say hi to everybody? Just jump into Ben's mic there. Just say everyone.
Okay, let me just greet everyone. Hi, people. My name is Tandor.
You're gonna be seeing quite a lot of stuff coming from here. Thanks for coming through. We've got a studio guest, a lot of guests today. We also have our own another in-house makeup artist. I don't know whether she's more rather DJ or more rather makeup artist. Do you wanna say hello to everyone?
She's busy.
Come,
checking
Moira.
out
Moira.
Moira.
So stop to everybody. Come stand up and say everybody.
Yeah, you can see my laptop just so we can show some of her work, please.
That's Moira, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
People.
Ben just jumped
And
into our
that's
laptop.
Moira.
Yeah, that's if you wanna follow her, she is Moira Mabaso on
Ben?
Instagram, and we also have Noluthando, and this is her page. You can see some of her stuff. That's Noluthando. How do you pronounce your surname?
Glasawi.
Esengalas.
No,
Glasawi.
She's actually white.
Okay. All right. Now back to your regulars. We are missing Taban today, who's out doing weddings during the week for the third time. I don't know where he gets those weddings to shoot during the
You
week.
wanna see?
We've got Usbuda. That's the guy who's talking to my left, and that's to your right.
The one and only CTTZ. Hi everyone. And once again, welcome to Photography and Its Beats. Thank you for watching. And
What have you been doing lately, Ben? If you could just show everybody.
Lately, I'm organizing. I was just casting for new models. I'm looking for new models.
Mhm.
So I've been receiving a lot of requests, and last weekend I did a shoot. Unfortunately, I haven't posted on my Instagram, but yeah, it went well. So it's one of my models that I'm gonna be working with, starting from now up until next year, April.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
so
sounds
that is
interesting.
what
But what are you casting for?
I'm just looking for new face actually. Yeah.
Oh, you've got no Noluthando there.
Does it? Okay. All right. So yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing lately.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. And to my right, your left, I believe, our sound engineer.
Hi everybody, I am Marv Inc., known as Marv. I shoot people, do mostly portraits, and then it's nice to be here again.
Well, that's all. What have you been doing? I see you got some new shots on your Insta page.
Yeah, I've been working on a few concepts. I recently shot, a wonderful makeup artist called Ntondani. We did some beauty work for her, and I have a few concepts lined up for the end of the year. I'm still looking for 2 people. I think I'm gonna be shooting no Leola also very soon. So I do have quite a few concepts lined up, and I can't wait.
All right. Okay. And our what do you call this? What are you? Videotape operator, Big Ben.
VT veteran.
I don't know, videotape operator. Oh, our teacher, Binjo. What's up?
What's up, ladies and gentle people? It's the Big Ben himself. I'm still trying to figure out why they call me Big Ben,
Okay.
but I am here.
Let's.
I'm the guy behind the scene.
Yeah. All right. What have you been doing, guys? If you look. Yeah. What have you been posting on Instagram?
Me?
Yeah. Or what project have you been into recently?
Me, I love pregnant women.
You know, by default, someone who's pregnant automatically means they have a man.
Yeah, that's a beautiful part about it. I know I'm tired.
Yeah. All right, that's cool. So you have a summer promotion here, or spring promotion. How's that going? Are you getting any shots from that?
The response has been very slowly nice.
Yeah.
It's quite slow, but there is response. I'm hoping to be getting more people. Look at that yellow, guys. It's so yellow.
Which what that cell phone provider yellow?
Yeah, you see, there's like we shot off a bee there,
Yeah.
but she looks dope.
All right. Okay. No, that's good. That's the 4 of us today. Like we said, Tabang is out somewhere in the field, and me. If you wanna get hold of me, the best place to be would be my website. If you're looking on the screen now, that's some of the stuff that we've been doing lately. That's mabasostudios.co.za, and everybody else, Mav Inc. will be I am Mav Inc. I'm _Mav_Inc.
That's
Instagram. Buddha would be
It's Budazoid.
Buddha Tom Zoid. All right, guys. The topic of today is quite interesting or simple. We're talking about things that we wish we knew in photography that we know now. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about mostly. So basically, we're looking at it from the points when we started photography, and things that we now know that we wish we knew then. And yeah, before we get that, I'm going to start off with my quick bits, Lightroom tips. And if most of you guys have this issue when exiting Lightroom, in most cases, all right. Okay, it's not quitting.
Wait for
Okay.
it.
Yeah, when you exit Lightroom, you always have this prompt most of the times at the end that says, do you want to back up your Lightroom, or do you want to back up Lightroom, and then it gives you 2 options to skip the backup this week, and then to skip this time, or skip until next week. Now, and most people don't actually know that you can actually turn that off. And if you go on to, while I wait for the Lightroom to respond, like I said, nothing ever goes on without a glitch. Okay, all right, on a Mac. Let's wait for MIDI to LR to open. It's fine. Keep it on screen. Keep it on screen, Ben.
Keep it on
It's fine.
screen, okay.
Yeah. Okay. If you click on a Mac, if you click on the Lightroom classic menu, on a PC you'll have to click on Edit, right? So, and if you go down to Catalog Settings, all right, and then something like this will pop up. If you look down here at the bottom, it says Backup Catalog, and your option is once a week when exiting Lightroom, or once a month when exiting Lightroom, and all those options. And if you click never, you'll never ever see that pop up. That pop up.
So is it available in all Lightroom?
Wonkama Lightrooms. Yeah, you can select, so that every time you exit Lightroom, you don't have to. It doesn't ask you, do you want to back up your catalog? Because I mean, I believe that everybody should be backing up their catalog in one way or the other.
So what option do you normally choose?
I never back up. I never let Lightroom back up my catalogs. I prefer to do everything manually.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Can I get a? Can people see me? All right. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing. I think I have quite a one or two of those tricks that I'm gonna be showing you throughout the show. Now, topic at hand. Things that we wish we knew. Technical, editing, Lightroom.
So I think one of my first things that I usually advocate to photographers that are quite new to photography is to slow down. I wish I knew that when I was new to photography, you just snap away, so you spray and pray and hope that you get something nice. You don't actually look at your composition, you're not looking at your background, you're just firing away. So just to slow down and take time to look through that viewfinder and look around and see what your scene looks like before actually pressing that shutter, you know. Okay. Recently I shoot very slow. I always tell Ben, and a lot of people say, but then you just went to a shoot, you only came back with 30 frames, and I shoot very slow because I take the time to look and adjust the pose and look at the background. And so one thing that I wish I knew is to just slow down and really look at your scene before you press that shot.
Yeah, and that way it makes you a better photographer because you start picking up like a lot of things.
True,
you know,
true.
like little papers that are not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Your Amadas beam.
Something that you don't need to remove in post, but you can actually remove before you take the photos.
True.
Because I've got that approach as well, where I said when I go out to do my own personal shoots, we discussed with the model that I'm actually after 10 photos. You know, we'll shoot maybe 50 up to 100 shots, but I'm just looking for that 10 perfect photos. Then when I know I go back home editing and I have got my selects, you know what, when I'm shooting, it's like, okay, all right, I like this one, let's adjust here, there, let's adjust this and that. And once I have the shot, the model knows that I have the shot. I will tell them that, you know what, this is our first shot, and then we move on to the next one. We'll take 1 or 2 shots, try to adjust the poses and things like that, go on, and like, okay, I got that shot, that's shot number 2, and then we move on. That way, it makes you a better photographer because then you start paying attention to a lot of things.
True, that's very true. So I think that's my first one.
Yeah, so guys, when you're out there, mouse tip, just take it easy, take it slow. Make if you have an hour session, make it 1 hour, 15 minutes, 1 hour.
Is that a tip or something that he wish he knew?
You wish? Well,
is that a tip or something?
Something I wish I knew when I started, so it is a tip.
Yeah, it's tip says.
No, it's the same thing.
No, it's not. Who says that a tip of face?
No. It's the same thing. You wish you knew that when you started off, because I've got hard drives of weddings where I came back alone with 2,000 photos, and then only wanting to deliver 400 images or 300 images. So I'm going to 2,000 people editing on Zoom. We didn't have this. I'll come back to this.
Hiding alone takes a lot of time.
And then now imagine if you have a second shooter who also prays and sprays. So you need 4,000 images, and then what? Your jet client will be here next month.
But somehow I would just like to disagree with you guys there, just to create that.
If we don't agree,
you know, some I'm photographers, ne? There are people, because not too good. If you're a photographer, you it's gonna be easy, or you'll be quick to find the exact image that you wanna take. There are some people who needs to take at least 5 to 10 shots so that they can get whatever they are looking for. I understand. So if nizothi nina lo muntu athatha isikhathi kunokushutha umshado makoti
no, but asikhuluma ngomshado, sikhuluma ngama
even but now you
even I think no umshado. I do the same thing. And so unless if it's something like Amaring, obviously there you need to make sure what you are pre-focused, you premeditate that moment, take your shots, and then you're going to take a few more than regular. But when it comes to photos where you can sit down and relax, it's okay, fine, I want to compose that.
But now what happens if it's a situation where you need to rush?
Well, it happens.
But Nakona Sbudo, you are rushing. Let's look at a wedding situation. in a wedding situation, you go in there, you just praying and praying.
Sure.
We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Now we go into the wedding as fast-paced as it is.
Yeah.
When you're looking in that viewfinder,
Yeah.
you're looking at your rules of third, you're looking at the background, you're shooting.
Mm.
You are shooting away, but you're shooting
Yeah.
really focused.
Sure.
Rather than shooting 10,000 photos, you probably come back with about 600 photos.
But now
cut them down to 400
No, Ben,
photos.
okay, Ben, you're a new photographer. You're still in this. I mean, you're coming up. I mean, you're not really new. I mean, you've been in, you're like what, a year now. You are a year now. What is your take? How when you're shooting an event or a session that's not so rush, how many shots do you come out of it?
Yes. I think I've slowed down after.
Noluthando, you're the last shooting up, Ben. Please, please, Manga, please,
when I do my portrait sessions, at first I used to shoot.
Hey, look at those people now.
Oh, okay. When I do my portrait, it feels weird to be looking at this. when I do my portrait sessions, at first when I started, I used to shoot almost 1,000 pics for that session.
Okay.
This guy Marv has been drilling. Get slow. yeah. I'm a kilometers. and that's what I started trying to do.
Okay.
I just had a shoot now. I think I shot under 80 pictures.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's not normal of me.
Yeah.
I shoot.
Yeah,
shoot.
but were you
I've got a
happier when you got
beautiful-
home because you have the shots and you
Yeah.
have lesser work to cull through?
Yeah.
No, actually, I think you don't get happy because now when you shoot a lot of pictures, you get a lot of pictures that you could I like this, I like this, I like that.
Yeah.
You understand? And I get to my editing where it gets me confused on
Okay.
which picture to choose and which not to use and stuff like that.
Mm.
But I would say, at first I was too much. I was trigger happy.
Yeah.
I have slowed down. I have slowed down. I'm talking to the screen. I've slowed down significantly. But yeah, I would say I'm shooting a bit slow. When
Okay.
it comes to event, it's a bit.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
We're getting you. We get you. We get you. We don't have 10 hours and 50 gigs. Yeah. So, Swida, nobody's agreeing with you.
Okay. No, it's fine.
No, but
No, I understand and ngiyavuma. Nani ngihlulile. Izobuya kutheni-ke now I need to introduce my tip or something that I wish I knew before,
okay.
of which is curling. We
Okay. All right. What is curling, by the way?
curling is just it's ukunciphisa umsebenzi to your minimum best. You understand? Let's say ushuthi ithombe njengo Big Ben. Ushuthi ithombe ezu-1,000. Understand? Then now you need to start choosing the best images before you even start editing or before you even start going through what the client wants. So that is curling. So it's curling, right?
Mina ngithi curling curling yes sabantu abamnyama now.
So yeah, that's one thing I wish I knew before, because there's a time where I shot up until my 32 gig memory card was disturbed a bit, so it ended up not functioning well.
Do you want to demo it here quickly?
Yeah.
Alright,
quickly,
yeah,
quickly,
sure.
quickly. You can. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay, wait. What you normally do is, can I close it or should I just leave it like that?
Should I go to the
Nitsin manje. Sebehleba ngami.
All right. So, but okay, no, I can demo since you
Yeah,
get to
just
Pambio.
demo it, yeah.
All right. So, what happens is, Ben, if you can switch off or switch over there onto my machine.
the screen?
Yeah. Basically, you're shooting like as we were talking. You go through your images to see what you like, what you didn't like. Like, say for instance, I've got these 3 shots, and I want one of them. This one you can see now. I don't like it that much, so I would press X, and then we'll reject the image. And then whatever that I like, I click pick, and then we'll flag it as a pick to say, okay, I'm going to look at that one. If I like this one, I'll click pick. You can see on my screen there's shortcuts on the bottom left. Okay, this one I like, maybe the previous one I don't like, and then you reject it. Then at the end, when you're done with all that, you go to when you as long as oh no, sorry, it's my fault actually. There we go. Then you click on your attributes, and then you say show me all the stuff that I picked, and will only show you the pictures that you picked. Then that way it removes everything in, and then you start concentrating on all that other stuff. With me, I'll always select and then add them either to a quick collection, which will go there. You can see shortcuts on the bottom left of my screen, what I'm pressing. I always believe in shortcuts, learn them. I'm pressing them as I do. And then on my quick collections, then will only show me the photos that I've selected. Then I know I'm only editing these 2 images or 10 images or whatever. Yeah, and I think that's Kyling. It saves you time. It goes back to saving time. You know, photography is all about the time that you spend out shooting and editing and getting it out there. That's how you rate your hours. So basically, if you charge somebody 1,000 rands and you go shoot for at an hour, and then you come back edit for 2 hours, you take the 1,000 rands divided by those 3 hours, and the time you deliver it, and then divide it, that's how much you get paid per hour.
Yes,
So don't get paid 1 rand per hour. Make sure you get your money's worth.
Please repeat the math.
Okay, before you go on, Nico,
Okay.
can you please just go back to our comments? We have Kainsile and Sibo. They are watching. Okay, now we've got also John Sfiso Mazibugo. Who Kainsile? This is why I'm coming back with my comments. Kainsile is agreeing with me. I agree with Nosbuda. Weddings are high past, and you don't want to miss important. Rather,
Very true.
Uzi the special.
But if you shoot right.
Okay, wait.
No,
I think Uzi-
I disagree because I used to when I started weddings,
Yeah.
I'd come back with about 4,000 images.
Yeah.
Then I'd have to cull through.
Yeah.
Right now, I shoot weddings and I come back and my memory card has got about 600 to 700
Yeah.
pictures,
Yeah.
which is far less than what I used to do, and I still don't miss moments.
Yeah.
How?
Mm.
I still don't have customers that complain that you missed this, you missed it, you didn't get the
No.
kiss. How?
No.
As you shoot, your eye gets trained, and
Yes. Yeah.
if they are walking down the aisle,
Yeah.
shooting 1, 2, 3, like now you're shooting a
That's a
movie.
shooting movie.
It's the same picture, wire. So you look at that special moment, you know the first look, when the groom sees the bride, there's going to be a moment there. You shoot that. You shoot the bride. You understand that? You're now able to shoot
But now,
better
If you've
and
been,
at a
if you've
slow-
been through,
But
if you've
now-
been to weddings,
Yeah.
if you've been to 4 weddings,
Yeah.
all 4 weddings have the same sequence. You know, you go to the bridals prep.
Yeah.
You from the bridal palace boyo lilizele strati mangene emotweni bazo
Yeah.
esontweni. You know imoto yokamakoti phambili. Eyakho will always be behind. you if you have a driver, you just well kumele uhlike basangene esontweni igijima. You are ready. You know you can predict all those moments. You can know to ufundisa uyofundisa by the time maqala athi this is going to happen. It's going to make them stand. You can predict those moments. You can set up your shots. You know what to look for. You can get your the correct angle. By the time those things happen, you go 1, 2, you're done. I would everything like uber surprised. So, okay, what's happening now? Click. You know, there was a wedding I did Nomav, the first wedding I did Nomav. Esontweni. You know, I read the priest's mind. Okay, I knew what they were gonna go for in. I wanted to change the lens. I went and I changed the lens.
Yeah.
They skipped something in between, and I almost missed the case. Putting in 7200, like diving in, I managed to get those 2 shots. Were they bad?
No,
You got the shots.
They were not
You know,
that bad.
and as the way, like the bride, the umfundisa, you may kiss a bride.
Yeah.
I was like clicking the lens,
Yeah.
turning, because I know my camera and my
Yeah.
setting swam. I went 1, 2, and I got my shot. Didn't miss anything. You know, so if you know imshado or ama event, you can predict what's gonna happen. I mean, if you're shooting through reception, all you have to do is just walk around. You don't have to catch every moment, but make sure that the moments you catch are the best moments that you ever catch. All right, we don't want to go on forever. Let's go on to my tips. I'm a tips Swami. I mean, I'm more technical. All right, if you can just jump on to me again. We were talking about renaming renaming stuff. The last podcast, ne? And I don't like this. If you can, okay.
Yeah.
On the top right left, can they see me? Can they see me? Can they see me?
Yeah.
Can they see me? This IMG underscore 083823.CRT.
Insta handling. Insta handling.
Guys, last I was talking about importing from the SD card. Ne? I'm gonna show you something else now. Select all the image. Like ever get a moment where you send a client, you've got your select and you want to send out images to your client, and then the client says, okay, I like image number 25. It's called 25.jpg. Can you maybe just adjust the color? And you come back to your Lightroom, image 25 is not the same as in your catalog. So instead of renaming your files when exporting, why don't you rename them in your catalog? By simply pressing that. You
F2.
F2 on a PC.
Like, what are you renaming the name of the image?
Before you go on, there's someone who's
agreeing with you.
No. Besides that, no shortcuts, Nico. We want to know.
No, can you see? No,
yes.
But I get now my shortcuts. There, I have whatever letters I press, they're on the bottom left on the screen, so you know what I'm doing.
Okay.
So please, right? I'm just gonna select a few images for the sake of argument. Okay, these are some of Tabang's shots from the shoot we did.
No, my shots were
Right, okay, so I've got this 6 shots selected, but usually I would select the whole catalog, right? I would select that, click, press F2 or Command F2, function F2 on a Mac, and it's just F2 on a PC, right? You go file renaming. I'm just going to click edit here just to create a template that I'm going to use every time. So I'm going to have a file name. But no, I don't want a file name. So we just say, let's say custom name. Gonja, how do you do this? Sorry, guys. Mina, all right. Okay, wait. Insert. No. Skis. I'm so used to having my stuff done. I haven't done this in a long time. Okay, yeah, we'll be okay. Let's say custom text, right? Will be custom text, and then let's say maybe a sequence number, and then we'll start from 1, right? So click done. So when you come here, what's my custom text? I'm just gonna call this, let's say, Annelisa, Annelisa portrait session, session, right? And then, as you can see here, we'll show you the example. We'll say Annelisa portrait session, and then we'll give you the number. Then, okay, it will rename all those files. If we go back in here, you can see the file name changed. And if I go to the next image, can you see the file name change? So when you're exporting these images, just export them like this. So when Annelisa comes back to you and say, I like Annelisa portrait session 2, but can you make it more brown or more green? Then you know exactly what file you're going back to.
It makes it easier.
Yeah, so that's I've heard that so many times. Okay, guy, you know the photo with my sister and whatever, and I go, what's the name of the file? And he goes, okay, it's wedding 25, wedding image 25. I'm like, I'm going there. I can't even remember what image. Unless if you're saving those export files, then you can go back into that JPEG. But this way, it makes it easier for you to look for that. Look for the file in your catalog.
This is one thing I wish I knew back then.
I wish I knew. I only know now. All right, Marv, we're back to you, Ben. Oh, Ben, do you have something? Yes, Ghana Ben is in the panel. Yes.
What?
Wow, yes, Ben. What's one thing that you wish you knew yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, because you aren't yesterday.
There is so much. I wish I understood that slums are normal.
What?
Slums are normal. In a sense, you're with you. You can always go back to your previous work to check where you are. And when I say slums, I mean like sometimes we kind of put so much pressure in getting the artistic photo in a sense, where sometimes you shoot and you come back with a kind of picture. and I think
your audience is in front of you, by the way.
Oh yeah, me learning. I'm looking. Yeah, me learning. It's always been something that was tricky. Like I thought every picture has to be wow. You understand? And as I'm learning, I kind of understood that not every picture will come out wow. Some pictures will be against what you were going for. But the idea is to continue shooting until and you do reference to what you have shot before to see what improvement you have done and what else do you need to improve and stuff like that.
So basically, the main competitor to you is yourself.
Yeah.
So you wanna compete to
don't
compete to a band from yesterday.
Don't choose me as competitor. I will smash you.
There you go. All right, no, that's a good tip. Yeah, and I think that's quite cool. Yeah, go back to yesterday's work. Learn from it and better yourself today and tomorrow. I mean, the best guy that you can compete with is yourself. It's good to have guys that you look up to, you follow, you want to get there. Yes, that is a bar, but the best one is, if you're better than yourself yesterday, then you've done a better job. I think that's a good thing, eh? Guys, I
went to school for this.
I was following legends, and I wanted to be like them, but I had no idea how to use this and that and this and that, and only to find out that the only person I need to beat was myself. No, that's a good one. Perfect, brilliant. Singago. Suguma Inc.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think another thing I wish I knew when I was starting out is to shoot in raw.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to hear the stories.
You're starting out.
Which client?
You're starting out. Even if it's your own personal work, you're starting out and you're looking up to these guys and you're shooting JPEG. Even if there's things that I could have drastically recovered or fixed in that image, just because I shot it in JPEG, I'm not able, even if I come to somebody who's a seasoned photographer, they're not really able to help me with that file. And I think the JPEG is kind of limiting. Yes, if you're shooting something easy peasy, no need to really do a lot on it, you can shoot JPEG if you wish. But for me, I think when I started out, RAWs were a bit frustrating because first of all, my computer wouldn't open a RAW file.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh shucks, I think I broke something, my pictures are not opening. But once you learn the power that's in that RAW file and how far you can process that RAW file, even if there is a bit of a mistake, you've shot just a bit under. It's a beautiful picture, but it's under. Recovering it as a RAW file is much easier and it's more doable. Changing the white balance totally the other way is also doable. So once I learned the RAW files, it actually gave me a lot of options in post to work with than my JPEG counterparts. So I think if I'd started there, the journey towards those perfect pictures that we never get would have been a lot shorter and smoother.
No, that makes sense. Anybody who's shooting, I mean, I know some guys who shoot RAW, shoot JPEG, who prefer JPEG because they've got their art crafts down. They know how to shoot perfectly, expose everything correctly, and But yeah, no, there are. Like I don't want to give myself that headache to mailing your editor in. Just want to touch up here there. But yes, everybody should be shooting RAW. You have all your details. That's why it's raw. It's like utumuntana next espaza yotenga flour still freezing and what and all those things. No sugar. You come in there, you bake your own cake, as opposed to like utumuntana Pick and Pay or whichever shop are winning cake. There's very little you can do. You can't put sugar. If there's too much sugar, you can reduce sugar. You can only do it so much. That's guys, shoot raw.
So yes.
City TZ. Before that, who do we have on the?
We got Busang and Kalmo who just joined us.
We've got Busang, we've got Gift Mpo.
Gift is coming back quite often. Thank you for your support.
And we have Mr. Kenlin Dinepe.
Dinepe, I think you've been there almost every episode. We have. Please, you have to tell us about that 130 135mm lens that you bought. I've seen
yes,
the images.
135.
Yeah, that he got a 135. I'm just gonna jump into his if he doesn't mind.
That's his phone.
I know. I'm today. Yeah.
Then we also have Utami Mabuza, Think a Man.
From Swaziland.
All the way from
so
Swaziland.
Yeah, man.
we are gaining more.
Please
So
invite.
far, Usape.
I'd like to come and shoot in Swaziland.
Please, please.
No, we postponed going to Swaziland because you had something. We postponed to the following week, and then what happens? And then what
the
happens?
invitation.
Nam
Yeah.
ngabona abantu
Hey.
Yeah. Now, guys, thank you, the people that are on the chats, the chatsies, the Facebook.
And then we still have Kanye. We are complaining with the high grade. Ufuna explain it. Shortcut.
She's a great one.
She's still in grade 1.
I'm showing my shortcuts on the screen, so you can come back and watch the stream again. Kenlin, I can't see that photo that I'm looking for. I will tell you as soon as I find it. Layer 135.
Yeah, I think just go up again.
I think, yeah, there we
that's
go.
the one.
Yeah. If you want to follow Ken Lin, it's Ken Lin Dinepe on Facebook. I'm not quite sure of what your work is. Please send it through. Please send it through. Yes.
My favorite.
I
lens.
love that's my new
beautiful
favorite
image.
lens. Ken
What?
Lin.
What aperture was this, though?
I am sure he was shooting wide open. I don't know, but please do tell us in the comment section.
That's one of the things I've learned.
Yeah. What?
That wide open aperture is best for portraits.
Well, it depends. It
Yeah.
depends.
Yeah, it depends.
Okay,
but
well,
if you
let's get into your. Is that your tip? Is that your tip?
Yeah, it's something
All right, cool.
I
Switch
picked
on
up
to
in-
yourself. Look at the camera and tell them what. Tell the people. Tell the people so people can send hate mail to you.
It's something that I've noticed.
Audience.
As you shoot at the wider aperture, your portraits become better, sharp, and stuff like that. Even the depth of field looks far better compared to when you're shooting at a higher, a closed aperture. I'm saying it right? Manzosho. But the idea is when you shoot landscape, I think it looks far better when you shoot at a closed aperture. When you're wide open, the sharpness and everything else looks super. Hence, we see a lot of pictures that are shot at 1.2, f1.2, which is wow.
Okay. Mav Batat. Hugs.
I disagree with that one.
Okay.
I disagree with that one. A wide open aperture gives you a narrower depth of field.
Yeah.
Chances of you missing focus are very high. If you don't have really your especially if you are focusing and recomposing, chances of you missing that focus becomes very high. The con to that is, yes, if you shoot wide open, the distracting elements behind the subject become blurred out. So if you have a very distracting background, it helps you shoot wide open. But if you have a very interesting background that you'd like to show, then shooting wide open defeats the purpose, because all that beautiful background will turn into balls of color and you won't really see what's there. And also, depending on the focal length you're using. So let's say I'm shooting a 70 to 200 at 200. At f2.8, the depth of field will be razor sharp. So that eye will be in, the ears will be out of focus, the cheeks will be out of focus, the second eye will be out of focus.
And if you're not good with focusing, so shine in the nose.
You might just
and
focus
then
on
you
the
miss-
nose.
And then you miss
So
your eyes. and
there you
everything.
need to make a conscious decision to say, am I sure that my focus is in?
Yeah.
And do I want to shoot it this way? If not, I would close down my aperture a bit more to get more in and shoot it that way. So I wouldn't say the picture is always better wide open. You know, I would say look at the situation, look at your focal length, look at your subject distance, how far they are from your lens, and then make a decision. Look at your background as well and say, well, this is an interesting background. I do want them to see that I'm at the Union buildings. Then close down a bit and show, even if you do blur it out a little, but show that it's the Union buildings. Rather than just opening to 1.2 and turning the union buildings into just balls of color, and and come back and say, I was at the union building, and we're like, where we see nothing behind the subject.
Hashtag see beyond the subject. No, like yeah, I agree everything with Marv, and I agree with you, Ben, but I was new when I agreed with you. I was new.
Okay.
Now
So since I'm new, I qualify.
no. People have different tastes, different styles of
Okay.
shooting. You look at the situation and you show people, you tell the story how you want to tell it. If your story is just the subject that you're shooting and you want nothing else but the subject, you just want the colors of the background to blend into your photo, yes, I will shoot at 1.2. Also depending on my focal length, then that way everybody's just looking at the subject and their beautiful dress and their beautiful makeup and whatever. But the way I shoot now, I'm more of a person who likes to tell people where I was, what I was doing, and what the situation was like. So hence I shoot wide, but that's despite the point. So you look at the situation like that, you look at it, okay, what lens am I going to use to tell this story, and what aperture am I going to use that's going to give me what I want to say. So it doesn't mean with portrait it's always wide open, and it doesn't mean to always shoot. I mean, look at Almost. We always make an example. Abe Live likes to tell. He likes to tell you where he was and how the situation was.
True.
He's got beautiful Limpopo mountains, and I mean, we'll Marv, if you can jump in there while we're talking, look for one of his shots. He likes to tell, like, he gives you that sense of feel, Uguti, this is where it was, this is how it was, and that's how he shoots. It doesn't mean it's wrong or it's right. That's how he prefers to. So if you like shooting wide open, shoot wide open. There's nothing wrong with it. That's how you go. So there is no right or wrong when it comes to portraits. As long as your story goes through the way you wanted it to go through, that's all that matters. Yeah, and I think that's I wish I knew that because I mean my first lens was a 2470. No, it was a 51.8, and then a 2470 1.8. And trust you me, I always shoot shot wide open. Now, are we going f4? Are we going f5.6? I make all those decisions when I think check Abe Life.
It's Arthur Maila or Arthur Maila.
Oh, his Facebook page. Yeah, while Marv is looking for the photo, we're going to just move on. Where are we on tips? So we back to...
my last tip.
Last
okay. One of the... It's a tip, actually. It's a histogram on Lightroom. Yeah, on Lightroom. That's one thing I wish I knew before then. When editing my images, I think it's best when I do it in Lightroom. Decreasing and exposing some of my deep overexposed. I mean, exposing my underexposed shadows and underexposing my overexposed highlights. So I think it's easier when you do it on the histogram on Lightroom. I don't know if Nico can show you guys. Yeah, please just switch.
No. I need collab.
Yeah. So on your right, it's your highlights. Then on your left, it's your shadows. So up there on the upper corners.
Okay, Ben, just jump into my computer, please.
Okay.
Okay, on your right, it's your highlights. On your left, it's your shadows. Normally, it's written blacks. Those are your shadows.
Okay, you got shadows, and then if you move a little, they go black.
Blacks are your deep shadows. So those upper arrows, those two arrows at the top.
Yeah.
If you click that, you can always adjust if there is something that is.
Okay. All right.
Right now, we can see there's the blue patches. That means there's too much information on your blacks right now. So for you to expose that well, you just need to click that part of that area. Just go there. There it's written blacks. You can just click there. You click, then you move to your right, meaning you are exposing whatever that is underexposed there. So I'm not sure if this image will work right as our example. But
I've got something that's overexposed.
Okay, but now if let's just carry on with this one. Sharp. If you click and drag to your right, you can see those blue blue highlights are just moving away now, meaning you are exposing well your deep end shadows. So now going to your right, if it's overexposed, you can always do the same. Just click that area, your highlights or your whites, then just drag them to your left, meaning you are underexposing or you're just exposing them well. So that's something that I wish I knew before, and now I know. That's how I got my my overexposed and underexposed images look better.
Okay, it's also called a J trick.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. If you look at my screen, you will see I keep on pressing J, and then you'll see how it keeps on recycling.
Nico and his shortcuts.
No. Like Google J trick. Google J
but
trick.
now, Uchamsi, I know.
Can you see?
Okay,
Okay, if we can just switch on to Mav's laptop there. Coming back to the shorts, Mav.
Mav's laptop is not on yet.
Mav's laptop.
Mav's laptop wins.
Mav's laptop. Are you sure
it's
that?
a create account.
Mav's laptop should be. Just check that again before we move on. I know, Mav. All right. Okay. Anyway, just look for Abe Live, One Live Photography on
Maybe
on
you can
Facebook.
show it on your
Yeah, I will show you, but we're jumping back onto my trick here. Okay, are we? Oh, we are back on me, ne?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Kana, what did I wanna do? We did that. Oh, okay. All right. Let me go a quick one. All right. If you could just jump in. You know me and technicalities, guys. All right, let's go to default library module. Most of us guys, when we started, some of us we bought those 30,000 rand laptops at whatever CNA, whatever.
Yes.
And working on a laptop is not really ideal. You'll find that your real estate, your space to work on is quite small. You know, that way you lose quite a lot of space when editing. You got a small pic in the middle. Just gonna try set this to default. Is it set to default? How do you do this? Okay, wait, did I press it twice? I click it. Oh, there we go. All right. You have such a small. You've got your browser there at the bottom. You've got your navigator, and then your presets on the side, your histogram, and then you've got the toolbar. I always tell people, you know, in develop module, you don't need most of these things unless if you use presets. You know, Nakona, you can just mouse over and then go presets. So I always hide these things because I know where I am. That way, it gives me a bigger space to work my photo. I can see my photo much clearer. I can adjust my exposure. That window is much bigger. My main focus, as opposed to when you come to a space that's like that, where you have a smaller photo. Now, if you want to work that photo, it's just a small area there where you. So I always say, you know, like I wish I knew or I realized, with, you know what, it's nice. Yes, you have all those panels and whatever, but when it comes to developing, if you're on a laptop, just hide all those things. You don't need them. Just work with what you need, and then move on. And that as well, adding on to that, there is something, you know, when you have all these things, you want to move from whatever.
That one I really loved.
When
you showed me that
you
one.
have all those, like you have now, if you want to move from your basic panels down to, say for instance, your split zoning, you have to scroll all the way down.
Yes.
If you right click, let's just right click on whichever one that's open closest. Right click on that, you will see this shortcut called solo mode. If you click on that, look what happens here. It saves me space. It closes everything else. If I can do my basic exposures and whatever, and then when I move on, let's say for instance to tone curve, see what happens to my basic. So that way you don't have to scroll up and down, up and down,
that
up
one
and down.
say I love when you showed me that one.
My desk has got track marks where my mouse has been moving, and now you don't have to. So yeah, solo mode. I think
This
it's
is the first thing I do when I open a Lightroom. I turn it to solo mode on a laptop, and
so
even on my desktop,
yeah.
I run on
So
solo
yeah,
mode.
just solo mode can collapse all whatever, but solo mode is best, especially if you're working on a small. Even on I mean, I've got a big monitor now.
Same here.
Yeah, but this enables me to get to the next panel quicker
True.
because it closes everything else and it's less distracting. So solo mode for me. And whatever it is, what was I saying? Oh, I'm a panel. All right, where are we? Are we back to you, Ben?
We are back to me.
Yeah.
Back to bed.
Welcome back to me, ladies and gentlemen. The other thing I am so happy that I've learned, and I learned it in Moz, is the exposure triangle. Understanding that the exposure triangle, how it works, how the ISO works together with the aperture, and how
sorry, you would have to keep reminding Ben.
forgives me. Yeah, and we see other children. Yeah, the exposure triangle. I am so happy that I've learned that, and I'm still learning further of it. Nah. Yeah. I think
What? Exposure triangle, that's it?
yeah.
What does it do?
But like
How the ISO works in conjunction, like you can choose one of two of the three. You can all have all three at once to control, to adjust your picture and how your exposure and the everything else to work together.
Okanye can attest to me with Okanye can attest to me with I know we did spend hours when we went to the Mozambique and basically if you wanna be a photographer you need to understand the exposure triangle. It's like if you wanna drive a car you need to understand, how other cars move. If this car is gonna come in behind you at this speed and you're moving slower, that car is probably gonna pass you. If you're driving at a faster speed and there's a car in front of you, you probably have to overtake it. So it's basically like normal rules of life. Exposure triangle, your ISO, shutter speed, and aperture, and how they relate to each other. That's you can't do photography if you don't understand those things. Otherwise you're just relying on automatic modes or just dialing in numbers and hoping you get it. Which I think that's a segue to my pick. Mav, maybe if you can explain this. This aperture thing and the flash. that I wish I knew. I went out there. I went out there shooting. It was too bright. I just shutter speed. Nothing changes. I just shutter speed. Change ISO. Then your image changes. So I wish I knew that with the relationship between your aperture and your light.
Yeah. So the shutter speed can never adjust your flash intensity.
Yeah.
So when you're shooting with a flash, shutter speed cannot affect the exposure of the flash because your camera, how it works with the shutter speed is the shutter speed determines how fast your curtain opens and closes. So the faster the shutter, the slower. The flash is so fast that even at your fastest shutter speed, by the time that curtain tries to close, the flash has fired a long time ago. So it can never beat the exposure. So if you do want to affect your speed light or your flash exposure, it has to be either ISO or your aperture. Aperture obviously being my go-to, and then, well, depending on the situation, you want to lower it with your ISO, which will lower the sensitivity of your sensor, therefore allow less light in, or close down your lens aperture, and as you close it down, obviously less light can go through.
I think Sweeter, that was one of the questions that one of our friends in one of the groups was struggling with, controlling your flash outputs, and saying that it was too much power, and the subject was
was it too?
It's not because they're inconstant. Is that it? I'll be checked as I would say. Or you were agreeing with
No, I was agreeing with
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I've done mine. Where are we?
We were still busy. We were busy with something.
No, it doesn't want to show me my menu. I wanted to share a tip there. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Another thing that I wish I knew back then is that you know when sometimes you go out and shoot without composing your shot very nice, the composition of your shots. You might think you nailed the composition, only to find that when you get back home, something was a bit off. So now, for you to compose your image right, you need to crop. But now, you need something that will guide you in cropping your image to have the perfect composition. Back into Lightroom, if you wanna get those guidelines, of which is rule of thirds, you just need to press. I think I shared that on my workshop. Now I'm sharing it today. Yeah.
We were not there.
Yeah. So you just need to on your Lightroom. Can we at least?
No, not Lightroom. Today we are armed.
Hey,
except Mob is just the one disappointing us.
My laptop.
My Lightroom.
No, your laptop, because the laptop was working just fine all of a sudden.
In Lightroom.
Yeah, your laptop come up and pick up a laptop.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. So on Lightroom, you just need to. Hello. Guys, what? Okay. Sure. On Lightroom, develop mode. So for you to crop and recompose it, because you just need to.
I'm on Nico's laptop, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You need to go back on Nico's laptop. You just come on, wait.
So move on.
Yeah, please.
Just a
second.
Okay.
I think. Okay. Yeah. Now let's get back onto our. You just need to press Ulukuzana on your. Just press R. It will show you all the, what do you call this?
Shortcuts, people.
Okay, you can just simply go to. Just simply, I'm sure everyone can see. Just simply go to crop. Nico, crop overlay icon here. You just click there. It's gonna show you those guidelines, of which is rule of thirds.
Which mine is off. My shot is off, but it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So a shortcut is just R. Then it will take you straight to that cropping. What do you call this? Cropping option. Yeah. Then just to move around those rule of thirds, you just need to keep pressing O.
Which means my shot is perfect, most.
Perfect.
Yeah, because
keep
I know.
O,
I know
then
photography.
it will show
More
you all the-
ipumile ku rule of third.
No. Wait. Look at the golden second. Look at the golden second. Go back to the golden.
Everything is perfect with this image. I don't
We
know
are pay golden second. Hey.
Yawan?
What is wrong with this? What is this?
Ukhuluma university.
then
We spoke about golden second
then you
last
can
week,
see,
man.
then you can just, if you wanna put
There we
there
go.
we go.
But I
Then
can't
now-
cut you. Not to shoot
Is it
on my
gonna-
mouth.
Then you can always
Fit
put
forward.
your composition in a good way.
Mind you, going
So-
back to open. Look at the top left of the screen.
Yeah.
Can you see what figure is this next to that letter F?
6 point.
Exig.
It's
Mr.
still
Wide
a
Open. Mr. Wide Open.
At F6.
6.3. So you make
Yeah,
what?
this is a landscape shot.
Yeah. No, this was a portrait session.
Ufuna ubusanga check.
So that's how you get to play around with composition. If you missed it while shooting, so you can always come
Okanyisile is
back.
asking, the golden rule guideline. How do I flip it to the right?
To the right. Because it's on default right.
Oh, press shortcuts. Can you see it on the screen?
Then you need to remove it. I
Or-
think it's
Okay, who else do we have in the chat rooms?
chat rooms, chat
Well,
rooms.
Kaiser Shetla.
Kaiser's gonna be in the next podcast.
No.
Kaiser's kicking.
No
kicking
Moira,
butt.
guys.
She's
She's
butt.
there.
Which Moira?
I didn't tell the Moira Mavas. She joined us.
Wait. Let's show you the situation in here.
Okay, we
There we go.
Yeah.
Say wave to everyone. There's everyone. That's everyone. Konos fishing.
Guys, if I give me this skirt, how do you do it?
All right. Anyway, okay. Going back to the panel shot. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Sorry, sweetheart.
So yeah, there is it.
Yeah. So
That is it.
That's how you get to get your composition straight. If you missed it while shooting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, basically the rule of thirds is very important.
It is.
Ulungile used to say like it's either you center frame your subject or you follow the rule of thirds if you want the
Okay.
photo to be attractive. It helps you. It helps give your photo a direction. It leads people into the shot. When they're looking at the shot, how do they come into the shot? What do they see first? You know,
True,
if
true.
somebody's looking to the left, if you're shooting a bit wider, you give more space to the side that they're looking at, so that it doesn't look like they're looking into nothingness. You start breaking that rule when obviously you get up there and you have different
Yeah.
concepts,
Yeah.
True.
and then you just wanna cause disruption in
True.
somebody's mind, and that's also a good thing. But
Mm.
you need to know why you're doing it and when you're doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
know the rules before you
before,
break it.
before
Yeah.
you break it,
Yeah.
you know, it does. If you know the rules well, you know how to break them well.
True,
You know, if you know how to use a gun, you can rob a bank properly.
So he knows.
Yeah, as I was saying, Kaiser, thanks for joining in. Kaiser's going to be our next. I've spoken to him. Kaiser's kicking butt. I'm liking the stuff that I'm seeing from his Instagram page. He's going to be joining us when we do portraits. That would be Kaiser. Amy's going to be here. The big names, all the portrait people. Marv's going to be here, probably hosting it because he's a big portrait person. Smuda, also a very big portrait person. Then we're going to have all those big brains together in one room. And we're gonna give them a camera and a subject and the best makeup artist in the country and say shoot and then they can talk to us and we can see how they approach different subjects.
That's if my
And,
fingers
and
not
remember, we
broken.
still have that win a shoot with
Yeah,
Marv,
Winner Shoot, Mr. Winner Shoot is not here
with
to explain
Marv,
that.
ne?
He's not here. So yeah, when Utaban comes back, yeah, we'll look into that. Okay, where are we on the tipping, Thomas? We'll get to you.
I think it's me. So
Okay.
things I wish I knew.
Yeah.
I think my next one is to get a 50 f1.8 as quick as you can.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it's get a
That's
50 mil f1.8, which is one of the cheapest lens in most cameras. I know on the Canon it's one of the cheapest.
Yeah.
On the Nikon as
Used
well,
to
it's
be.
one of the
I
cheapest.
bought it brand new mine when I was still shooting Nikon. I posted a photo of, by the way, a post of my first camera bag about 10 years ago.
Oh yes, I saw it
Yeah.
on Facebook.
In
yeah.
there's a 50 1.8 which I
Yes.
bought brand new back then. I think I bought it for 1.8.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
1,800.
So I think in most systems they do have they call it a Nifty 50.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get that lens as soon as you can. You know, if you cannot afford it when you buy a body, I usually say to people, try to not get the 18 to 55 and
Mhm.
bargain for a 50 f1.8.
Yes.
That
Yes.
lens will take you to places.
Yes.
You know, yeah, I think this is the one of the older ones. It's the Canon version. It's you'll feel it.
It's plastic.
It's
very
plastic.
cheap.
It's it's cheap. It's light, but I promise you the sharpness of this lens compared to an 18 to 55, especially at the wider apertures, is amazing. You know, it's amazing. And one thing I loved about this lens, it taught me how to compose.
Yes.
And it also taught me the depth of field in relation to subjects. You
But
know?
when you say it taught you how to compose, explain that because it's a.
So this is a fixed focal length.
Prime,
That
yeah.
meaning it cannot zoom in, it cannot zoom out. So
Yes.
it's fixed at 50 mil. So now, if it's 50, now it forces you to move either in or out of your subject, depending on how to compose. So you will move in and you'll move out, and therefore when you stand there, you actually you will take the time to compose the shot. While with a zoom lens, you become so lazy that you stand here and you start zooming in to actually frame your shot.
Yeah.
And what that and when you are still a beginner, you're not understanding that with you zooming in and out, you're actually affecting the compression of the image.
Yes.
And you also actually affecting also the sharpness of the image, because usually a zoom lens will be sharp to a certain
Yeah.
focal length, and
Yeah.
then from there it will start getting soft.
Yeah.
And as a newbie, you don't really think about those things. And with this lens, you learn a lot more than with the zoom lens.
We call it a nifty 50, ne?
Yeah, nifty 50, and also the sharpness.
Plastic fantastic.
Fantastic. You know, and also the sharpness. I think Ben can attest to that. When he first touched the 50,
After
he never
18
wanted.
to 55.
Then he never wanted to touch it 18 to 55.
Yes, I felt bewitched.
Even when he's in the studio and he's like, "We're gonna shoot F8," he's like, "I don't want to shoot 18 to 55."
I would rather cancel my shoot.
You know, so I wish I knew that when I started out, that get a nifty 50 as quick as you can. If you cannot afford it on the purchase of your camera, as soon as you can make that little money, make an investment, whether you get a second-hand one or whatever, just make the investment into a 50mm lens. You won't regret it.
Okay, that's a beautiful
I
tip.
think on that point as well, it does say, they normally say, it's not the body.
Talk to your audience.
It's not
To us.
gosh, it's not the body, it's the class.
It's what you put in front of your camera.
When people say nice body, you could just simply say CF or SD, but it's not the body, it's more of the lens. With a better class, Vincent is also part of the people who said, "Wow, Prime never went back." He even lost
85.
He even
My
lost
85
an 18 to 55. That has an image stabilizer on
My
it.
85 has been missing for the past couple of months. Vincent has been.
Vincent has been shooting with the 85 ever since, and his pictures. He says his pictures look different. I still the same thing. But his work looks far better. Yeah.
I'm also the same. I agree with the 50. I mean, I wish I'd gotten earlier. I mean, everybody knows in my camera bag there's always a 50 and now an 85. Those are two lenses that never leave. I can do a whole wedding with just those two lenses. Yes, I will walk, but my images will be happy. You know, but best I'm fortunate now to have the 1.4 version. But yeah, even the 1.8 GC. I mean, you will never shoot at that wide open. I do shoot events. We used to have annual parties. DJ annual parties where the only lens, because I mean I'm there from 6 o'clock in the evening until probably 2 in the morning, you know, and I don't like to shoot flash when I'm shooting those DJ parties. It's fun parties that we just have for fun.
Yeah.
And so basically what I do is just take my 50, no flash and everything, walk around, and when it gets too dark, because I mean sometimes places where I can go, I know I can go ISO 4000 and I can go 1.8, 2.0, 2.2 around there, and I'll still get my shots because the 50 glass is just so clean. As cheap as it is, they make it so beautiful. You know what? Where are we? Are we back to you?
Back to Ben.
We're back to
Ben.
Back to Ben.
Back to Ben.
Is that Mob's laptop? I saw there.
Yeah, Mob's laptop
Is
has you guys.
Oh, all right.
It's back.
Yeah, it's back.
Hey.
Do you still have the shots?
Okay.
Go away.
Yeah. While Ben talks to us, let's try to go back to that shot. Ben, your turn. I think we need to start wrapping it up now.
Yes.
Another 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Tips.
Before I speak, Kanye is still struggling with the moving the
overlay.
is the overlay, the rule of third from the right to the left. She kind of said right to left, but she wanted the opposite way. Like it's on the right,
Okay.
and she wants it on the left. So how do you move it to that?
Wait. Is it the shot that she needs recropped, or does she need to know how to change the overlay? Can you please, if you can be specific on that?
To the left, I mean.
Yeah, but what exactly are we?
You see, when the rule of third, the box and the circle and
the golden circle.
Yeah,
I think the golden circle. It's that flow. I don't think the flow would work. I don't think it would work out well the other way around. I don't know. I've never seen. I've always seen the flow. It always goes to the right.
Yeah, it always goes to the right.
I don't know if it the golden circle. I don't think it does the left. But I could be wrong. But we'll Google that for you and then come back to you.
Okay. Back to moi.
Back to Ben.
Back to Ben.
The things I
Okay,
wish
before you start, quickly, maybe since we have Mav's laptop,
Okay, we go to
yeah,
Mav.
let's just show that guys there.
Oh gosh, yes.
There we go. That's
at
what
this.
it's called. Lens choice, and aperture choice, and how you want to tell your story, the way you want to. You know, not because I've got a 1.8, I have to shoot at 1.8. Not because I've got a f4, I have to shoot at f4. Sometimes you f11, sometimes f16, sometimes f5.6, depending on the story that you want and the light that you have available to you.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah,
I mean, look
and
at
you
what
see-
is
you
wrong
see-
with shots? What is wrong?
You know?
Nothing. It's beautiful shots. You've
Yeah.
got your cloud. You know where you are. You've got your mountains in the background. You know, it's like I mean, I can see myself driving in this terrain, going to Saibi or whatever. This just a situation.
Yeah, I think it's just about what you want to achieve. You see photographers like Abu Lins who do commercial work. You find them shooting a 1,600 watt strobe at f16 during the day. You know, it's all about what you want to achieve. So, for me, I say don't get stuck in the shallow end. You know, look what works for you, what looks good to your eyes, and go with that. With me, I all look at the situation and I shot with that. I don't have a particular aperture that I stay on. I shoot sometimes at f11, sometimes at f4, sometimes wide open, sometimes f16. You know, and I I've never gone to 22, but I think Nico encouraged me more when he said, why f4, why don't we go to the other end? And I started looking at the other end, and you can see from the shot he showed as well, at 6.3, you know, there was still enough bokeh at the back, you would still see where the model is, you know, so why not?
Okay. All right. Coming back to Kanye, Mr. Smuda has found your solution. Ben,
Okay. I'm going back to
let's just go R. Okay, there we go. We're just gonna go to the overlay.
The overlay, yeah.
There we go.
Okay. They
What
didn't
did you
say-
press?
show
What
the
you
shift O.
press?
Look at the bottom left of
Yeah,
the
see
screen.
the shift button selected. Shift O. Then you can
So you
change
can change it the way you
Yeah,
want to change
the
it.
way you want it. All right.
So
I'll,
Is
add,
still-
that, I'll
is
add
it-
that to my tip. I'm done.
That's my
It's still the rule of third when it's on the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the rule of thirds is like put your subject in an interesting point of the
Yeah.
photograph, of the frame.
Yeah.
So I can have the same shot. Okay, let me just, while you're still there, I can have this shot but crop it. I want to show you like a very strange crop, and then you guys tell me what you think of this. Okay,
Okay.
there. You can still crop it like that, still rule of thirds. Depending on what the subject is and how you want to tell your story. I mean,
Okay.
Ulungile always said cropping is a very powerful tool.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
He
You know how to
says
use
it's
it.
one of the tools, yeah.
So yeah. So you just need to know what your how to use it properly. Wait, there we go. I think that's your computer may have a slow.
Oh, kids
Okay, that's it.
Chesha.
That's
Shout out to everybody.
To Ben.
no. Wait.
He shouted out to
Ukeza-
Marvin
okay,
Smooth.
Ukeza is not coming to the podcast because he shout out to Marvin Smooth.
But-
Now shout out to
but
Ben,
there's Nico.
but he didn't shout out to Nico.
Thank you, Nico. I'm humble. I'm really. No, but he says, "Thank you, Nico. I'm humble and I'm really learning a lot from you, guys."
I didn't shout out. I want shut up. Shut up to Nico.
Shut up, Nico.
All right, okay, let's go back to the panel, please, so I
Okay.
can do some stuff here. Are we back to me?
Yeah.
Okay, my tip is simple. Okay,
Ah,
mine is more technical. Ne? I didn't understand this until sometime earlier this year.
Okay.
Like your camera color settings, to your computer color settings, to your client's color settings, to everybody else who's viewing Facebook. You know, Smuda was teaching about color on Google Workshop,
Yeah, I was
CMYK and RGB and all those things.
RGB,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. If you check on, so unfortunately I cannot show you the menu system of my camera,
Yeah.
but if you check on your menu system of your camera, you get choices. You can shoot Adobe RGB, you can shoot
True. Yeah.
sRGB
RGB,
or whatever.
yes.
I've decided I don't know if it's right or wrong. I've personally decided, which I'm shooting everything sRGB, right?
Makes sense.
My camera settings is on sRGB. I set my color space on my computer to sRGB.
Yes.
Why? Because I know that every computer by default that comes out
Is
that's
at
out in the world is at sRGB.
And most social media
And so,
platforms are running
so
sRGB.
that brings my photo closer or closest to what I want the people viewing it to be. You know, not everybody's got a color calibrated monitor. Not everybody's got a Profoto color profile. Most 90%, if not 99% of the people in the world are going to be viewing that photo are viewing sRGB.
Yes.
What is sRGB? RGB, we know it's red, green, and blue.
Yeah.
Those are the color
CMYK.
spaces.
Yes.
Now the S means standard. That's why I decided to use that standard. So it's standard standard red, standard green, standard blue.
Yeah.
So standard red, green, and blue.
Yes.
I've decided that everything that I do is sRGB. So when I go to Lightroom, my workspace to Lightroom,
Yes,
sRGB. My workspace on my camera, sRGB.
And even when you're exporting, you need to make sure everything is on sRGB.
sRGB.
Especially for social media.
Yeah. Because okay, no.
Yeah. That way you are more. You'll be more comfortable knowing that the photo that you send out, what you see on your computer. How? Hey, we've got our father.
Kanye, Lungile is in the house.
We are here together. We know each other here because we've met some way, one way or the other via Ulungile. This is our sensei, as we call him.
Hi,
Anyway, thanks for joining in, Baba. And if you can remember, almost a year and a week ago, when he started this podcast in the studio, he was here as well, just to give us his blessing. That's when he decided actually that he's quitting photography, and we were laughing about it, and he never came back. But Sensei,
not discriminating. Give Zulu just joined at the same time. No, Lungile, and we just said Lungile.
We're not seeing everything. We're not seeing everyone. Oh, Shongi, we didn't say hi to you, but I remember seeing.
Shongi.
Yeah, Shongi is here.
Shongi is in the house.
Our new girlfriend who has a 5D Mark IV. I'm sorry if we're missing you on the shoutouts. The refresh is not the same for everyone here. Please do forgive us, guys, who are watching there. If you see people we didn't shout out to, please do let us know. Give and give Zulu. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And who else did I miss? Okay, where was we?
And Lungile just said, keep on doing the great job, guys.
No, thank you, boss. Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you, Sensei.
Arigato. Okay. I think you guys have got all my tips.
You've got all your tips. All right, one more from me. Okay, go ahead, Ben.
I'm gonna leave the best for the last one.
One more for me. Let me transit. One more for me is the white balance. It took me a while to learn the white balance.
What is white balance?
White balance is balanced white thing. White balance.
Okay, quickly, we've got 5 minutes left.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know how to explain white balance, but I know what a white balance is.
Yeah.
On the camera. When the first time I shot, I just shot, I remember, and then I looked at my camera, and this GoPro is very green or red. I was like, what the happened? And then I had to learn how to adjust white balance on camera before I even go, because you can adjust it in post, but it's best to learn how to adjust it on your camera before, so that you don't get a shock. I got shocked. I thought I'm cooking them instead of shooting them, because they were looking all kind of colors. What affects your white balance is the light that you're using where you are.
Tungsten, fluorescence, and whatever.
And even the shadows, even the sunshine. Even there's a guy behind me. Like all those ambient elements will always affect your white balance. I learned the hard way.
Okay, I want to add on to the white balance. When you're shooting an event, reception, say wedding reception,
Yeah.
right? You've got 2 sides, if not 4 sides of the reception hall. You've got the side where the bride and groom is sitting,
Yeah.
and you've got the side where the back audience are sitting. I always advise that you use manual white balance, set the white balance properly for the side where the bride and groom or the main people are sitting, right? When you have to shoot something at the back, shoot it with the same white balance. When it comes to editing, when you go back to editing, you can take all the photos that you shot at the back, adjust one for the white balance, and sync all those shots at the
Yes.
back.
Yeah.
But as opposed to setting everything to auto white balance, because now the white balance is not read the same, depending on what the focal point or the pinpoint of the camera is faced. That's what it's gonna choose as the white balance.
And it
So
also-
even if you sync the camera, the white balance will not be the same.
Yeah.
So I always suggest pick a white balance, stick to it. When it comes to Lightroom, all you have to do is just do one,
Yeah.
and then sync it across.
Yeah.
So,
Sweet, are you
so
saying?
that
Let's just give Sweet a chance first, and then we'll come back to you.
No, I was just adding on what white balance reads. Even if, let's say maybe we're shooting people who are wearing a white outfit. If someone with a red and green outfit comes in, the white balance is also,
Shifting.
yeah,
Is it?
it also shifts a bit, yeah.
Because the dress is going to reflect onto the white. It's
yeah.
gonna give
Yeah.
the white is no longer going to be white. It's going to have that reflection of that red or whatever the color.
And the
that's
camera
reflecting.
will compensate.
I mean, also,
Yeah.
why is the studio gray?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
the camera sees in 18% gray, and the white balance is set according to that. It's set what the camera thinks is 18% gray. In the scene, it's what's going to set the white balance to. So that's why you find most studios are either gray or white, or white reflects, but the gray is like more 18% gray is more the perfect color that for white balancing, because that's how the camera sees the image. You know, it thinks as closest to what a perfect image or a perfect white balance should be.
So basically, our cameras are colorblind.
Well, not really. 'Cause that's how they're set to see 18% gray. You know.
Not mine, Ben, yours.
Yeah. All right. Sweetie, you've got a last one.
more from me.
And I've
is,
got a complex one. I'm gonna pull a spooder on you.
Okay, then one more from me is the tone curves. When on Lightroom. Okay, Ben.
Send it
Do
out.
you
Yeah, that's
mention-
fine. Yeah, send it out. Send
Send
it out.
it
Send it out to the
On
world.
Nico's
Yeah.
Bring
lap.
back to the world.
On Lightroom, we have that portion of
Tone curves.
tone curves. So this is where
See how
you-
solo mode is. How beautiful solo mode is.
This is where you play around adjusting your RGB, your channels. You can always adjust them solo, green, blue, and red. So adjusting RGB. Sometimes you let's say you create a point here. So now you want to move that point, and it goes fast, very fast. Then you end up just confusing yourself on what to do. The easiest and the quickest to just get your Give peace, a bit of a face. I'm gonna snag you, man.
I'm moving my closer to
Okay.
Squid. He moves away.
All right, yeah. That's just the easiest way for you to not to be confused, because now this thing sometimes runs faster. You just need to you just need to select your point, then you click or you press Alt or Command, then you just move your point.
So like
It
micro
moves-
adjustments.
Yes, it moves slow,
Ah, that I
slow,
didn't
slow.
know,
So
that I didn't know.
it becomes easy for you to just get your settings straight where you wanna move your point or where you wanna let your adjustments be. So it's easier that way. Unlike when you're not pressing Alt, it moves faster. And it's
So when you hold Alt, it moves slower.
yeah, so it becomes
Oh,
easier.
okay.
We learn.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Did you hear that, Jim?
Okay. All right. On the last one, if it doesn't work, Ben, pull the cable so that it will go offline. Go offline quickly.
Like he usually does.
Yeah. Here's something new that I've learned. I'm not quite 100% sure. I'm still trying to learn it, but I'm gonna confuse you guys as well, right? So, i.e., pulling a smoother. So, all right, you shoot a portrait session. Obviously, the light changes throughout the day, right? And sometimes you edit an image and you're happy with it, and then you wanna apply a certain preset to it, but the preset doesn't affect the images the same way throughout the images. Now, that has to do mostly with your total exposure of the image. That's why the presets are affected differently by all those images. If you can look at this, let's just look at these two images. I've got this image. I'm gonna go to develop mode. Sorry, going back to hiding all those things. I've got this image and this image. This one we shot closer to the sunset, and this one we shot we're still there a bit earlier on. All right, now if this tip is called matching your total exposure. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about highlights, shadows, and everything else. You want to get just the exposure. You want to get to a point where you more or less happy with okay, maybe just for instance, I'm not going to 100%. More or less, would see okay. I like this shot more or less. Let's just say here, all right. I'm not saying this is accurate, right? And then you go to the image that's shot in the same set but different. Obviously, the images have to be closer in terms of subjects, and then more or less, you select those two images. You make sure the main one that you want to match from is selected. And on your develop settings, you click on settings and you go match total exposures. Now, what this should do, and it does, you know, which I've noticed, but I'm still playing around with which type of images this works on. It should match more or less. Never mind the white balance. It should match more or less the exposure from one image to the other, how bright the image is, how well you're exposed. You can see that this one was set. I set this one. This is the one that I set to manual, which is a one and a half stops, right? And then if you go back to the other one, it copied more or less the same exposure, same brightness, but it's not. It didn't copy the detail. What it does, it looks at your f-stop. It looks at your shutter speed, then it calculates and works with your histogram, and it calculates more or less how your exposure of the image is. Therefore, when once that the total exposure of the image is set, when you apply a preset, it should more or less affect the image the same way as the other one. We're not talking about highlights, shadows, we're talking about just the exposure of the image. So I'm still working on to see what images work best. I mean, obviously, if you saw something at 12 o'clock in the midday and something at 6 p.m., those are two, you know, even if you try to make those are completely short different times, so they're not gonna work. They're not gonna work. So you want to try something that was shot maybe 10 minutes apart, or maybe if you're shooting sunset, you know how fast the sun moves, and then those images are too close to each other. Then you can match the total exposure, and then. Alright, Ulungile is just saying some stuff there on the chat room if you're watching. After you're reading.
No bongs, start with this. No bongs.
London has joined the house again. Mr. Bongs, thank you again. Let's just send out shout outs. I think we are more or less done. Do you want to do news or do we just want to closing cons?
No, let's closing cons.
Yeah, okay, just one last thing, which doesn't apply now, used to apply back in my day. I wish I'd gotten a full frame camera sooner. Because back then, your crop sensor cameras, they would max out at 1600 or 3200 ISO, but doesn't mean that 3200 is good. You have to adjust it down to 800. And full frames, your 800 ISO was just beautiful, noiseless. Nowadays, guys, it does not matter much. They put in so much noise tolerance on those sensors.
The processing power is insane.
On your 1200D or whatever your latest, cheapest entry camera don't worry about those. It used to apply to me back in the day, where there was a difference between crop sensor cameras and full frame in terms of sensor. Nowadays, just get the good lens, you are good to go. All right, black people, where can they find you? Ben, where can people find you on the internet?
Mina.
Yeah.
I am found corner bullet and knife.
That's Zulu Mob.
I'm not Zulu.
No, I'm just saying that corner bullet. That was the album. That was album. Yeah, Zulu Mob.
Oh yeah.
I know because I had an original.
I am found at Big Ben _.
You can switch to my laptop.
Benjo. as it is in Lapo Laptop.
Yeah, let's help Big Ben get to 1,000 followers, people.
Yeah, I need
Yeah,
something.
all right.
eh?
Okay. What are you doing soon? Quick project that you're playing or working around with? Are you working on something interesting that we should come and look at?
I am currently I've been shooting. There's a project I'm working on, the
Yeah.
tape shoot.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
I saw an image. Nice.
I
Nice.
saw an image.
No, I saw something you posted last week or a week before, something like a couple of weeks
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for that.
Mm.
I'll be bombarding people with what the ugliest thing I've been doing lately.
Okay. All right.
And a suit shoot.
All right. Cool. Mav Inc.
Yeah.
Where do people find you? Follow you? Stalk you?
I
come to you
think
for
if Ben
free?
can switch to my laptop.
Please, Ben, please.
This is my handle, so I'm Mav Inc.
Switch to-
And
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
we switch
Hey.
to yours.
so yeah, my handle is I'm_Mav_Inc. And I'm gonna be working on a few personal projects at the moment. I've approached a few people, and that's what I'll be shooting. And then obviously the day-to-day stuff also that buys the gear.
All right, that's good. That's good. Mr. Tom Zoid.
Yibu,
Ben?
yibu.
Leave the
Because-
chat room. It's not your job. Yeah, Mr. Tom Zoid.
The people can find me on Instagram at Sbudazoid, on Facebook, Sbuda Zoid, then on 500 pics. Just go on Google
I
and
don't
say
go 500
Sbuda
pics.
Zoid.
Whoa,
500
jealous,
pics. My first,
jealous.
Yeah, just-
your 500 pics profile. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, yeah.
yeah, so people can just find me there at Buddha Zoid at Instagram, then Facebook it's Buddha Zoid, then my Facebook page is C_T_T_Z, so
Okay.
which is CTTZ with underscores down
Let's
there.
get Sbuda to 1,500 followers by end of this week, please, guys.
And another thing, what I'm working on now is that, as I've said before, I'm more concentrating because I'm a researcher and I'm also a photographer, so
We're finishing in 5 minutes.
Transport is
Okay,
yeah.
all right,
okay,
sure.
Chap. I'll be focusing more in researching because I've seen more of my students. They've been.
Okay, let's finish up.
Okay, Chap. I'll be focusing more on researching. So I've already started with a shoot which I did last weekend, and it came out nice. So I'm ready to share what I did on that shoot for me to come up with that nice, well exposed image that I took. So yeah, it's what I'm gonna be focusing on, researching a lot and shooting less.
All right. Before we close out, I'd like to say congratulations to Mr. Busang DJ,
Yes,
who is now the new ambassador for Godox. Just announced today.
8200's our way. 8200s.
Usang, I hope you know I love you.
Put in a good words. This is a Godox here. 8600s. We want some 200s with some discounts there. But anyway, on a serious note, congrats, Busang. Your work speaks for itself.
Sure,
brilliant
yeah.
Photographer, brother to the family. Yeah, and that's it. I'm working on this.
What is that?
I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you
What's
soon.
that?
He's
What's that?
DJing on photos.
We spoke about it last
Yeah.
episode, but this is what I'm working on, and I'm working on a few websites and building my portfolios.
This looks like a DJing thing.
Yeah, but you will see when it comes to review it. Guys, thank you for joining us, everybody
Yes.
in the room. We came through, and the guys that are going to be watching tomorrow or later on today, thank you for your support. Do post your questions on the page. Do post your questions on the page and help us decide what topics you want us to discuss and what problems you're having,
Yeah.
and we shall get back to you. Otherwise, adios until next time.
Until next
no
time.
picks of the week this week because we've ran over our time. We want to save you guys some data.
Yes.
All right, sure, guys. Send it through. And
Bye.
we'll sing it.
Avaliwa mamai, kavaliwa mamai.